morning. So this morning, I'm really pleased that Gemma Cleland has very kindly agreed to join to uh, be part of our Q&A and go through some questions. So Gemma, thank you ever so much for your time.
Delighted to be here. Thanks for the invite, Susie.
Pleasure. So just a quick intro then. So for people listening, so I give a brief intro of your kind of a 60-second of your background so people have an idea. So Gemma's Chief Marketing Officer, currently works for Convatec, which is a FTSE 100 healthcare business. So correct me if I'm wrong, but turnover about 2 billion, about 10,000 staff. So it's a huge corporation, very, very successful business. And I would describe your background as very much FMCG. So many years at Unilever and Danone. So you've worked for some of the top FMCG brands, really accomplished chief marketing officer. And I was obviously we know we've met before, and I was sort of looking back as we were doing our research, and I thought you're a real expert in terms of both brand and the digital marketing side, and have a wealth of the change and transformation experience under your belt as well now. So thank you, because I know that our heads of marketing and our directors of marketing listening to this, and we've got about 30,000 people now who we share this with, will be really, really interested in your journey to date. So Gemma, thanks again. And are you happy to dive straight into the questions?
Sure.
Excellent. So I've kind of talked about where you are now, so very much at the top of your game. But I'm always really curious what led you into marketing in the first place.
I think I was probably always destined to be a marketeer, because when I think back, I absolutely loved problem solving and the creativity that came with it. I was from a large family. I was the second eldest, so I had lots of young siblings that I had to kind of get organized and help with. And I think that ability to constantly want to understand other people and know what their needs were and give them some really great problems to or solving their problems was a real kind of passion point of mine. Along with telling stories, I absolutely love and the whole idea of storytelling. And with that comes brands, because obviously brands tell great stories. So from really early on, I was fascinated by not only people, but brands and how they could really represent what it was that people needed in their lives. And so I think from very early on, I realized that was kind of where I had my sparkle. And I studied business studies and marketing at university. I absolutely loved it. My placements and experience that I had really early on enabled me to see that there was both an art and a science behind marketing. And that really genuinely matched me as a person. And I think that's really what took me there and what's kept me here. And when I realized that you could earn money by doing something that you loved, what magic was that? So yes, that's what I'd say that I was what I saw, the balance of being able to bring creativity and logic together to really drive fulfilling solutions for people, just kept me wanting for more. So I think that's what led me to where I am today.
Clearly a real natural passion for it. And lots have changed, since you came into marketing in those earlier days. Certainly in recent years, we've seen a big change in terms of digital technology and how that is used within marketing. And I'm really keen to understand, you've led some really big teams through kind of big change programs, etc. How do you lead your teams in a time where we're seeing lots of digital technology change within marketing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant time to be a marketeer, with so much innovation in digital technology. The birth of the internet and social media has enabled marketeers to just powerfully create much more personalized and customized solutions, way beyond just that product itself, which as an FMCG marketeer, it's just opened the doors to so much more ability for us to really innovate and create that meaningful solution. So I definitely see it as an enabler, as a positive thing, and as something as change makers we should really get behind. I guess the caution that I always talk to my team about is it can't just be a tool. It has to be seen as an enabler. So the digital tech really genuinely has to be embedded in what it's doing to answer the customer pain point. And so I use a very simple 3-step framework, something that Mark Ritson will be very proud of, which is simply, firstly, listen and diagnose. What is it that customer problem is, that pain point, that unmet need? And don't go beyond that step until you genuinely really understand what the problem is that you're solving for, and use the tech to get there. So tech and digital really gives us that ability to get much more granular in understanding what the customer problems are that we're solving for. And then the stage 2, which is around make the right choices. The tech allows you then to ensure that what the choices you're making become part of that solution. So way beyond just product, it's customer experience. Utilize the technology to genuinely stay with your customer all the way through that funnel to give them what they need. And of course, the third area is about don't just leave it at launching it. Ruthlessly execute it, be behind your numbers, get behind the data, and again, use that technology to really genuinely understand what that change is bringing to your business. And that's where that whole commercial execution becomes so powerful and so critical to a marketeer. So I think what I would say to anybody coming in now as a marketeer is this is a genuine time where marketeers can become commercial leaders. We have the opportunity to make marketing a growth driver through enabling technology to support our brand growth. So don't lose sight of what it is that your brand needs to be. Don't just let technology take over, but allow technology to be the enabler of driving the right brand propositions and solutions to serve your customer needs.
I couldn't agree more. And in the last sort of 6 months, all of the CMO briefs that we've had in, and the marketing director ones as well, the phrasing's been different. For the first time on these briefs that actually says marketing is now viewed as the enabler, it's the growth engine of the business. There's been a real shift change, and an exciting one for marketers as well. So couldn't agree more. And it's fascinating to listen to you. You can see why you're clearly such a strong leader. And you mentioned Mark Ritson, so looking forward to hearing him speak in a few weeks' time at the Festival of Marketing. That's coming up as well. So before we digress too much, so suggestions to other leaders, that's I think the bit I'm interested in now, is what would you suggest to other leaders? Have you got tips generally for other senior leaders as they're navigating a period of change? That's, I know you've got wealth of experience in that area. What are your learnings? What would you share with them?
Yeah, I think change is going to be a part of everything we do. Transformation isn't separate now to business as usual, because with the plethora of digital tools that are available to us, we've got to constantly learn and relearn. So I think my first advice is don't be afraid of change and experiencing something new. So if you get the opportunity within your current role to do something different, take that opportunity. I remember at one stage at Unilever, I had the opportunity to lead a digital transformation as part of the role that I had. And I took that and I really embraced that. And that was an opportunity to learn, also to bring really great people into the business and to start leading for that change in the organization as well. So that second point brings me on to people. Know what you're really good at and where your strengths are, and perfect those, but be aware of where you then need to bring people in to support you. It's not possible to do everything and know everything yourself, and to be able to control from yourself what you think others need to do. So you have to rely and be vulnerable on your blind spots and know what they are and bring the right people in to support you. And that's something that I've been an advocate for, and particularly in my current role, where I've been really reliant on bringing in subject matter experts to support me drive the digital transformation. And it's really paying off, because it gives them the autonomy, it gives them the space to create what they need to do, but you're really there to try and guide and deliver that framework that I spoke about, ensuring that you've got deep customer understanding, you're making the right choices, and you are being choiceful in where you drive your strategy, and you've got an eye on what that's doing in market, and you're ruthlessly measuring and adapting and learning from what you're doing. So really simplify what it is that you think you need to do, get the right people behind you, know where your strengths are, and have a really clear vision of where you want to get to.
It's a really smart approach. My next one's quite sort of topical, because obviously with Festival of Marketing coming up, and all the senior marketers will gather and discuss what's on their agendas. But be interested in your personal view. What do you think might be the priorities for senior marketers over the next year?
Yeah, really good question. I listened a lot to the feedback from Cannes this year, and there was obviously some discussions around the balance between tech firms and tech insights coming into Cannes versus creativity. And I wonder if that's what we're going to see more of as we kind of navigate through the next stage of where we go with marketing. And that brings me back to the whole art and science. We have to have both. Both matter, and both are important, and both are transforming. So I'd love to see how we have more and more examples of brilliant brands that are embracing technology in order to drive a successful brand narrative and equity-driven solutions. So how do we make all of our great brands that are famous today continue to be that famous and that relevant and that meaningful in our lives by embracing the latest and greatest when it comes to digital technology?
Oh, love that. Okay. And a couple of advice questions now, I guess. So if I mentioned that within the audience there'll be a lot of either heads of marketing who are looking one day to be a CMO, or marketing directors who are looking to make that step up. What guidance, what advice would you give, or what do you wish someone had told you as you kind of work your way through? What would you share to other people in that situation?
I think the first thing is really get to know yourself. Know who you are, know what it is that you love doing, and where you have your sweet spots. So knowing what that is for you really matters, and will drive you to successful outcomes. So I remember, and I'm eternally grateful for the opportunity I had at Unilever to work on my purpose. We called it a lot about purpose then. And I define mine as nurturing drive, which is very similar to the art and science of marketing. So I like to make sure that I've really genuinely understood people, and that I've got a clear ability to continue to listen and understand people. But equally, I've got that obsession with ensuring that we've delivered competitively, and I've got that real drive to want to make it work, make it happen, go for more, get the results. And so being able to balance me as an individual in my work and who I am and how I show up in a team really matters to then make sure that I'm a high performing individual. And I've used that so much. I share it transparently with my team, and it's something that is important, I think, as a leader, to ensure that you are able to be at your best and to be vulnerable in those situations that you need it. So know yourself as best as you can, and be yourself. Surround yourself with the right people that meet the brief of the role you're in. That's really important. And do that quickly. So find out really quickly where the gaps are. Recruit well, spend the time recruiting really well for the right people to support you. You might find them in your business already, or you might have to go outside. And don't be afraid to take the time to make sure you've got that right. And then I think the third area is, stakeholdering really matters. I learned this really on in my career. I think my early days as a brand manager, I was probably more a project manager as well as a brand manager, because stakeholdering matters so much to when you're trying to drive change. So get your internal champions, your change makers, rally them around, spend time with them, understand what it is from their perspective that they need, and adapt and flex what your narrative is to suit them. Be careful of your language, ensure you're using their words, and really make yourself feel like you're integrated into what it is that they're looking to drive. So I think those would be my three things, Suzie.
My last one, we always finish with something on mindset, and you're clearly super organized and very positive, and we typically find that everyone at this level has some really sort of positive habits. Is there anything that that you would share that maybe you have as part of your, I don't know, daily habits routine, that they would share in terms of maintaining that positive mindset?
I'd love to say I have a daily routine, but it does unfortunately go out the window by about 9 o'clock. But I do have a weekly one, which is uh, an ex-boss of mine told me a long time ago. It's obviously a very famous phrase: put the oxygen mask on yourself. And I really try and remind myself of that, and look after myself and know what those things are that I need to do to make me perform at my best. So going for a run on a Friday with a friend and chatting the whole way around to just get that, decompress the whole week and the life, and just know that things are being filtered through. So, I never miss my Friday morning runs. Equally, I have regular sessions in with my team, just very small 15-minute check-ins, but I make sure I see every single one of my wider team over a month. And that's just, as we're working in a much more agile way now, it's important that those coffee machine moments, which now need to be done virtually, happen, and that you're really listening out for ideas, areas where you can learn from them, and any problems that you might need to help them with. And I've found those little 15-minute check-ins have been the most useful for me in ironing out things before they become bigger, or simply learning from them. My team have ideas and examples of good case studies that I wouldn't have known about if I didn't just have those quick 15-minute chats. So constant connection with your team really, really matters.
Great ideas. I love that. I'm a big fan of the running myself. So Friday morning run to kind of decompress for the week, and 15-minute check-ins with your team. Gemma, thank you. I wish you continued success in your career. You're an amazing marketeer, and thank you very much for giving up your time today.
Thanks, Suzie. Great to see you.
Pleasure.